Hey guys, I'm here recording this video to talk about the full moon in Libra that takes place April 7th at 18 degrees 44 minutes of Libra at around 10:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's a lot going on right now, guys, so I'm going to try to keep this brief and just give you what I feel is necessary to let you know in regards to the energy right now surrounding this full moon, yes, but also right before and right after. So on April 4th, we experienced the first of 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions. We're going to have another one on June 30th and then another one on November the 13th of this year. And those are really big portals of change. And if you think about the level of what's been going on right now, the timeline of those dates, there's never any coincidences, right? So that particular conjunction is, the best word to describe it is like exacerbation. So it just kind of exacerbates whatever it's touching, whatever it's landing upon, whatever happens to be going on out there in the universe, but also in your internal world, right? In your own world. And so right now, Jupiter is expansive and Pluto is, it's taking things down, it's transforming, it's killing things off, it's getting rid of what isn't working, stripping away the old to bring in a new world, a new earth, let's just say. And right now, that particular conjunction is so important because it's making a square, which is a frictional aspect to this full moon in Libra that's taking place on Tuesday, April 7th. And the importance of that square to the full moon is because squares are frictional. So with this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction being highlighted, and we're seeing a spike in a lot of things that are happening right now, and it's going to be squaring to this full moon. Full moons illuminate, full moons magnify, full moons intensify. Full moons bring things up to the surface, right? For closer examination and release, ultimately. And so when you really think about that, squaring this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, which is exacerbating and highlighting I hate to keep talking about the pandemic, but it's the truth. It's just the reality of what's going on right now. So yes, that's part of it. But then also you want to look to your internal world, more importantly, because Libra, which is the sign of the full moon, the sign that the full moon is occurring in, is the opposite sign of Aries, which is the sign that the sun is in right now. And that's what happens when it's a full moon. It's an opposition of the sun and the moon. And that opposition of the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, highlight the opposition in our own lives, like ego versus soul, head versus heart, home versus work, all of that. And the 7th house is the house of partnerships of all kinds. It's the marriage house, but it's not just marital partnerships, it's all it's all relationships, right? It's about the other. Libra is about the other, but Libra is also about equality and balance and restoration on the positive side. And Aries is the sign of the self, which is like, I am. This is me. This is what I'm doing. There's a selfishness to Aries where there's a selflessness to Libra. And they're opposing each other. So there's like a balance that has to be struck right now. And we have to work at that to uncover what needs to be put back into balance. And now is more of a time than any for that to be occurring because most of us, many of us, a lot of us are being called to truly go inward when it comes to all of our connections, business, personal, all of that, friendships, just to kind of see where is there a balance, right? Because that's Libra, or an imbalance or an injustice, because again, that's Libra. And this is all about this. It's also a supermoon, meaning it's going to be magnified times 10, let's just say, with everything that's going on. And it feels a little tumultuous. It can feel a little rocky. There could be a lot coming up to the surface to be addressed, to be cleared and healed, rectified where it can be, for new boundaries to be set into place, new behaviors to work in and work around. There's a lot going on and it can manifest in many different ways for everybody. But if you are feeling edgy, tense, relentless in your pursuit to change things right now, that's normal. It's totally normal. Not even take away the factor of what's going on in the outside world, but in your internal world, in your own relationships, in your own life, the things that you want to change and fix, and the things you've maybe wanted to and didn't have the time to dedicate to, now you have this time or some more time than you did. And it's important that you look at that, okay? And just keeping in mind that we have some other tense aspects right now. I do want to mention that this moon is also making a quincunx to Neptune, which I feel could be, okay, so Neptune is receptivity, right? That's what Neptune rules. It's like very receptive. And it's quincunxing the full moon, which means things are getting highlighted, right, with the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction as well. So just take extra care right now of your respiratory system, right? We're all trying to do that anyway. But because it's such a funky aspect with the moon and Neptune, it kind of, you can't let your emotions take over right now, because if you do, it lowers your immunity, right? And you're more receptive. So that's not just I'm not talking about, the coronavirus. I'm talking about any kind of sickness, any kind of lowered state of consciousness, anything that can bring you down right now. It's more likely with this moon because of the quincunx to Neptune. So keep that in mind. It's not uncommon if you've been dreaming about water a lot lately. I have, I know a lot of other people have. It's just Neptune. It's the Neptunian theme, and it's also our anxieties and our paranoias, because Neptune rules paranoias, working themselves out through our subconscious right now, okay? So that could be coming up as well. On the positive side, Mercury is making a nice sextile to this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that is squaring the moon, and that's actually a good thing because that leads to solutions and resolutions. So we can be hearing of some positivity amidst some negativity, but they could be finding, cures, things that could help us moving forward. This could also be applicable to your personal life. So, really thinking things through to find a solution. And then Mercury will finally leave Pisces, thank you, and go into Aries on April 10th, a couple days after the full moon. And that's going to be really good for all of us, because when Mercury goes into Aries, that's the communication planet joining up with the warrior. And that's like, okay, let's go. When Mercury's in Pisces, it's more like, blah, 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 blah. It just like blubbers under the surface. It has a harder time with communication, outward communication, right? Because Pisces is inward. But in Aries, it's more of like that warrior spirit, go, 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 we're ready, we're moving. So it's likely that after this full moon gets on out of here, that energy, like 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, it's still going to feel very tense. We're still under a lot of hot button aspects, but it could just feel like a little bit of reprieve comes through as we go along, okay? So there's also I want to mention a Mars-Uranus square that's happening. Mars is in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus, and they're squaring with this full moon. And anytime that happens, and I've talked about this before in other videos, you probably, if you've been following me, you've heard me say it. Whenever we have one of those aspects, be so careful. I mean, you should always be careful driving, but more so right now, okay? Because there's an impulsiveness and an erraticness to the energy, and it's electrifying, literally. So be careful with electronics as well, electricity, sockets and things like that, water, be very mindful, because it's a time when we're not consciously trying to be more impulsive or erratic, but that's the energy. And so you want to be extra careful around this time. So basically from pretty much for the next 2 to 3 weeks, just be mindful, extra mindful if you're driving. If you're getting, because it's this full moon's lighting up, it's not lighting up, it is the Libra sign, the 7th house of partnerships. For some, there could be like literal explosive arguments happening or situations, and you want to keep your cool. You want to make sure that you respond, but don't react, because if you react right now, it could be very, very, you may regret it. You may do something you wouldn't normally do. That's quite likely right now. It's possible. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just possible. So if you are feeling extra edgy, unnerved, unhinged, like you're going to fly off the handle, normal, common right now. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you could be feeling a little low on energy, depressed, not wanting to talk to people. Again, normal. All you can do is connect to yourself. I've been speaking about connection a lot, and Libra is the sign of connection. So this is also going to highlight, like I said earlier, the connections, not just with others, but the connection that we have to self. What are you doing for yourself to stay connected, to stay in your center, to stay in your lane, to make sure you're okay? Because if you're not okay, the outside's not going to be okay for you, but in here has to be okay. And so this moon cycle, this full moon, is really going to shine a light on all of that. It's going to illuminate where, how, who, what, all in all forms of what you're feeling connected to, your level of connectedness or disconnectedness, and how to bridge that gap. Because we're also going to have another supermoon in May, another full supermoon in the sign of Scorpio, and that's going to be more intense. I'm just being real with you guys. So we're going to have a couple of weeks here where it might calm down a little bit, but then it's going to spike right back up. So we need to be connected. We need to stay connected to ourselves, to each other. We need to be understanding and compassionate. Don't look for problems right now. Look for solutions. And if you are having problems right now, because we all are, right? Everybody has problems. Look for a solution rather than like how do I attack? No, just pull it back. Look for connect the dots here. What is this situation trying to show you right now that's coming up in your life? Libra is the sign about the other. Aries is the sign about the self. Remember that. So that's the polarity we have happening. Yes, it's good to look to others and see their part in our story, but first we must look to ourselves and see our part and be honest about that and honor that truth. Like I always say, I'm here for you guys. I'm grateful for all of you. If you need me, you know where to find me. I've been, doing a lot of my own work at the moment to keep myself up and connected. So I will continue to do that, and I will be back with some more videos and readings. And like I said, I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment or an email. Make sure you click on the bell icon to be notified of new videos as they come out. You can sign up for my newsletter, my Facebook, my Instagram. All of that is linked below. Take really good care of yourselves. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to do one thing. Two things, actually. I wanted to pull a card from my Wild Unknown Tarot deck for this full moon. Let's see what we get. This is literally the first day I've dried my hair, I think, in weeks. So, not that you care, but just thought I'd share that. Okay. All right, so we got the Tower. The Tower is ruled by Mars, right? Mars rules Aries. We're in Aries season. So things are definitely, literally explosive right now. Things are chaotic. That's the Tower. That's like shit hitting the fan and the people getting, not literally, but people getting kind of blown all over the place, which is what's happening right now, literally. So I think, the Tower's just letting us know, like I said, like astrology proves, we're not out of the woods just yet. There's going to be a lot of, shaking and shifting and rocking and rolling. And we have to just trust that once the dust settles, and it will, because it always does, once the dust settles, it'll leave us better than where we're found, okay? We have to trust that. We have to believe that. We have to honor that. We have to have faith. Another interesting thing I wanted to say is I work with the Sabian symbols. A doctor back in 1925 in San Francisco or San Diego, I forget, he worked with a clairvoyant woman who was wheelchair bound. Her name was Elsie. And together they came up with, prophetic blurbs for each constellation, for each degree of the zodiac. So there's actually 360 in here. So it's like for every sign has 30 degrees per sign. And so it's like 1 degree of Cancer has a Sabian symbol, 2 degree of Cancer. So it's actually really cool. You can even look at like where the degree of your sun is at your birth, and then you can look it up in here, and it's very interesting. But anyway, I thought the one for this full moon in particular was quite metaphorical, as they all typically are, and I wanted to share it. So this full moon is at 18 degrees and 44 minutes of Libra, so we're going to put that up and round it to 19 degrees. And the Sabian symbol is this. Okay, listen up. A gang of robbers in hiding. This is a symbol of the periodic exercise of man's freedom of spirit and soul in a complete, if often unhappy, deviation from his normal impulses or attitudes, dramatized here on the side of a practical or everyday self-fulfillment. Emphasis is on every side, sorry guys, emphasis is on every person's disturbing capacity for antisocial or even self-perverted practices, or for self-involvement in potentials which may have imaginative but hardly intelligent sustainment in his consciousness. The reversed symbolism reveals his need for initiative and for a more challenging perspective. Okay, so if you think about that, that's basically saying that we're all deviating from our normal routine because we have to. We're being told we have to. The gang of robbers in hiding, that literally, use your imagination of who that could be, what we're being told to do, what we're being fed, what we're being led by, how we're being led. And remember to stay connected and trust yourself above all else. we don't know what our new normal is going to be. It may not be that different. It may. Who knows? But bottom line is we're right now being told, herded like sheep. And it's just the way it is at the moment. And, you know, the tower shows that there's probably more of that to come. So again, stay connected, stay centered, stay true. I'll be back. I will talk to you guys soon. Take really good care of yourselves and make sure you're keeping up with your liquids. Very important, right? Your vitamin C, your zinc, all that good stuff. Take care, guys. Bye.